Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into a really fascinating modern parable from a text known as Crysticism Parable 511.2. And what it does is take something most of us use every single day, caffeine, and it completely reframes it in a way you've probably never thought of before.
So the parable doesn't waste any time at all. It gets right to the point by introducing its core concept. Let's take a look at how exactly it's defined.
So right off the bat, we're told this isn't really about the drink itself. Feinism was presented as this whole mindset, this ideology of treating people like machines that just need to be constantly fueled up for better performance. The text even calls it a favorite tool of tempters, which is pretty intense language, right? The idea is that it's designed to keep our focus locked on the purely physical world.
Okay, this is where things take a mystical turn. We're not just talking about productivity anymore. The story dives into some pretty serious alleged spiritual consequences. We hear from two characters, Evan and Evelyn, as they lay out a series of warnings that are meant not just for their classmate, but for us, the reader.
So the first warning basically frames caffeine as a kind of spiritual static. Imagine you're trying to tune in to a clear radio signal, but all you get is fuzz. That's the idea here, that it supposedly dulls our awareness and makes it much harder to get into those deeper, meditative states that a spiritual journey might require. The argument then kind of shifts from the mind over to the body's energy systems. The parable claims that caffeine throws our natural energy flow out of whack by overstimulating what it calls the root chakra. And that imbalance, it suggests, is the real reason for the anxiety and jitters that a lot of people feel after a strong coffee. And this warning just builds on those previous points. The parable argues that if we're constantly reaching for a physical energy boost, our attention just gets glued to material things, work, deadlines, the daily grind, instead of what it calls the path to transcendence. And here's where it gets even more out there. The parable suggests that caffeine can literally create portals, making a person's energy field vulnerable to what it calls negative influences from other realms. So there you have it. Those are the 4 big spiritual risks that the parable lays out. But the story doesn't just stop at the individual. It argues this is all part of a much bigger societal level problem.
Right, so now the camera kind of zooms out. It starts to suggest that this whole thing isn't just about personal choices, but about systemic manipulation. It draws this really sharp contrast between how we normally think about coffee and the mystical warnings we just heard. This slide really just captures that core conflict perfectly. On one side, you've got the public perception. Coffee is a healthy, social ritual. But on the other side, you have the parable's warning that it's actually a tool for social control, that the health studies are manipulated, and that our morning ritual is a ritual for something much darker. And all of this builds to the parable's central and, let's be honest, pretty provocative question. Is our society's reliance on caffeine actually intentional? Could it be serving some hidden purpose to keep us all distracted, compliant, and maybe a little less likely to question the way things are? Now, to bring all these mystical claims back down to earth, the story shifts gears. It starts talking about the real physical consequences, the price tag for what it calls borrowed energy, especially from all those high caffeine products that are everywhere these days. The teacher in the story, a character they call Lord Blue, he actually puts a number on it. 400 milligrams. He argues that this is the tipping point, the threshold where that physical price tag really starts to show up, beginning with a noticeable strain on the heart. And then he lays out this simple but pretty vicious cycle. You get the artificial push, right? That temporary spike. But it's always followed by an inevitable crash. And what's the solution to that crash? It's the very thing that caused it. And just like that, you're caught in this powerful dependency loop. So, everything we've talked about culminates in the parable's final lesson. And what's really interesting is that it's not a call to ban coffee or anything like that. It all comes down to awareness and the power of your own personal choice. And this right here is the key takeaway. After all the warnings, all the conspiracy theories, the parable boils everything down to this one fundamental question that's posed to the protagonist. Who or what is actually running your system? In the end, the protagonist, Abby, she just makes a conscious choice. And what's so powerful about it is that it's not some big, dramatic, lifelong vow. It's a simple, quiet act of just walking past the coffee shop, reclaiming her own system, just for one day. And that really leaves us with the final, broader question this parable wants us to think about. It's not just about coffee, is it? It's an invitation for us to look at all the automatic habits in our own lives, the unseen subscriptions that we might be running on autopilot, and to ask ourselves that same crucial question: who's really in charge here?